Hello, friends. Welcome to today's daily devotion. I'm reading to you from the Old Testament, the book of 1 Samuel, the 24th chapter, verses 1 through 13. Hear now these words. After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, "David is in the desert of En-Gedi." So Saul took 3,000 able young men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pens along the way. A cave was there, and Saul went in to relieve himself. That means he had to go to the bathroom. David and his men were far back in the cave. The men said, "This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, 'I will give your enemy into your hands for you to deal with as you wish.'" Then David crept up unnoticed and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Afterward, David was conscience-stricken for having cut off a corner of Saul's robe. And he said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or to lay my hand on him, for he is the anointed Lord." With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, "My Lord, my king!" When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, "Why do you listen when men say, 'David is bent on harming you'? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, 'I will not lay my hand on my Lord because he is the Lord's anointed.' See, my father, look at this piece of your robe in my hand. I cut off the corner of your robe, but did not kill you. See that there is nothing in my hand to indicate that I am guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me to take my life. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the evils which you have done to me, but my hand will not touch you. As the old saying goes, from evildoers come evil deeds, so my hand will not touch you." Now, Saul was incredibly jealous of the adulation that David had received from all the people of Israel. And out of that jealousy, Saul had decided David had to go. He wanted to kill him. And so David ran for his life from Saul, and that's the context in which we see the story unfolding that I just read to you. But here's the thing that I want to draw attention to. David was conscience-stricken for having cut off a corner of his robe. You see, David had this tension in his heart, in his soul, in his gut that said, wait, are you really going to do what you're preparing to do? And David stopped and paid attention to that tension. And as a result, he chose a different path than the one that would have led to Saul's death. Now, my friends, you and I, we may not be facing a life-death situation like David and Saul, but if you are experiencing a tension about a decision, then stop and pay attention to that tension and allow God to work to help you make a better decision. As it says, from evildoers come evil deeds. Well, let's not be evildoers doing evil deeds, and your conscience will help you. And I'll see you on Monday for another daily devotion.